I am Mr. Boone.
And I'm Mr. Delcher.
So, since we're all stranded in our homes, I looked around my pantry and we were wondering what can you make with basic ingredients that you probably have in your household. So, this recipe I found actually on Cooking Light. First I walked around my pantry, I walked into my pantry, I looked at my refrigerator, and one of the things that you want to do on the road to becoming a chef is you want to try to utilize what you have in your house in order to create something basically out of nothing. So today we will be making pasta with chickpeas and garlic sauce. All right?
I also want to note that this recipe is going to be great for our vegetarians and vegans out there. There's going to be a few, obviously today Mr. Boone's going to use the certain ingredients that he has in his pantry, but there's definitely some substitutions that we can use to make this a vegetarian or vegan meal. And it's also very healthy.
Correct. Correct.
I'm ready, Mr. Boone.
Okay, so
let's go.
Number 1, heat oil in a medium saucepan over medium heat.
All right, so I have my saucepan here.
All right, so we need 2 teaspoons of olive oil. 2 teaspoons of olive oil, Mr. Delcher.
2 teaspoons. Let's see,
right.
Medium heat, that's 4, right?
4.
Yeah.
2 teaspoons of olive oil.
2 teaspoons. While
Mr. Delcher is doing that, I am going to peel and crush 2 cloves of fresh garlic. Oh, Miss O, did you see that? All right, so you want to remove the skin. All right, crush up the garlic. Chop it up.
I love the smell of fresh garlic in the afternoon.
It smells great, it really does. Okay, so heat oil in a medium saucepan over medium heat, add crushed garlic and saute for 1 minute. Okay? Mr. Delcher, you got any, how about that plastic spatula over there? You can use that.
The spatula right here?
How's your heat? Is it ready?
I think so.
So let me ask you a question. What happens if you overcook your garlic? What happens to the garlic?
Oh, doesn't it get really like brown and ugly and
if it gets
weird tasting?
Bitter
Yes,
taste.
bitter
Taste. All right, so we're gonna add the fresh garlic. All right, I'm gonna get the cloves that you dropped on the floor.
Now, luckily this is on low heat, so it's not going or medium heat, so it's not going to. It's just gonna lightly cook and not hopefully overdo.
So to that, I'm going to add 3/4 of a teaspoon of kosher salt. Okay, so here's a 1/2 teaspoon. And we have to add 1/4 teaspoon as well. So we have a 1/2 teaspoon and 1/4 teaspoon, which equals 3/4 teaspoon. Add salt. And then next thing we're going to add is 1/4 teaspoon of crushed red pepper.
Oh. Obviously, if you don't like the spice, you could definitely not include the red pepper flakes.
Correct.
Or if you like it even spicier, you could use cayenne pepper or something like that.
All right, Mr. Delcher, remove that from the stove for 1 second because we don't want to burn that garlic.
That's right.
What I'm doing right now is I'm opening 1 can, and most of you probably have these in your homes, of garbanzo beans or chickpeas. Okay, so that's 1 can of chickpeas which have been drained. Okay, I drained out the liquid, and I'm going to add them in. You can return the pan back to the heat. Add the chickpeas, and to that, I'm going to add chicken broth. If you don't have chicken broth at home, you can always add a bouillon cube, and then you have to add that to water, and you'll end up with chicken broth as well.
Or if you're vegetarian or vegan, you could substitute chicken broth for vegetable stock.
Let's see. Chicken broth, we need 14 ounces. Okay, remember when you are measuring liquid, you want to put your item flat on the surface. Do not measure in the air, otherwise the liquid is going to rotate back and forth. So we want to get to 14 ounces. Okay, so Mr. Dutcher, as soon as I add this, you're going to turn up the heat to high and bring it to a boil. Okay, and you should hear it start to crackle. Okay. The heat is out on high, and it says here to bring to a boil. Then you're going to cover and let it simmer for approximately 5 to 10 minutes. Okay, so bring it up to a boil first. I'm going to get your piece of aluminum foil, and you're going to cover that.
Sounds good to me, Mr. Bone.
There you go.
Thank you. Oh.
All right. Did you ever watch The Honeymooners? Kitchen Gadget, Chef of the Future?
Yes.
Yes. Zip, zip.
And away.
All right. While garlic mixture simmers, this is the next step. All right. We're just waiting for this to come to a boil. While your garlic mixture simmers, all right, we're going to add, we're going to cook the pasta. Just to save time, I already cooked the pasta. The pasta that I'm using today was angel hair. Angel hair cooks anywhere between 7 and 8 minutes, so I did something that's relatively quickly. So I already cooked and cooled off my angel hair pasta. So while garlic mixture simmers, cook pasta in boiling water, omit salt and fat, and drain well. All right? So, you're almost at a boil there. Okay, you can go ahead and cover it.
Try not to burn.
All right, so some other ingredients which we need to add is actually a half a cup of grape tomatoes. They need to be halved. I'm actually going to slice them. All right, so we take my grape tomatoes. I would make sure that everything that you buy at the grocery store, any kind of fresh fruit or vegetables, I would make sure that you wash everything, especially nowadays. Okay, so a half a cup, I would say, probably is around maybe a dozen tomatoes or so. Okay, that's probably about a half a cup. What I'm going to do is, I'm right-handed. I'm going to put them on my left side, and I'm going to slice them like this. Okay? Mr. Dutcher, now that that is boiling, you want to, let's show everybody that it's boiling. All right, you can see the rapid the bubbles. All right, so once that comes to a full boil, then you're going to cover it and lower down your heat. So why are we boiling the chickpeas in the stock? What are we doing to the chickpeas?
We're softening them.
We're softening them, exactly, because eventually those chickpeas are going to get pureed. Okay, there's my tomatoes. I need 2 more cloves of garlic. Okay, make sure to remove all the skin. Okay. 2 more cloves of garlic, and we also need 1 tablespoon of minced parsley. What I like to do is, if you don't have a lot of time or you don't want to use a lot of time, is you could do your garlic and your parsley at the same time. All right, so there's about a tablespoon of fresh parsley, and I'm going to chop that up at the same time I chop up my garlic.
Well,
Okay.
Mr. Boone, that's very clever.
Thank you. Remember, keep your fingers tucked underneath. Don't expose your fingertips while you are cutting. All right?
Mr. Boone, you said I had to lower the heat?
Lower the heat down
to
a simmer.
To a simmer.
All right, so my garlic and my parsley, which I'm chopping at the same time, is finely minced. And we'll put that off to the side with the tomatoes. Okay, so the only other thing we need is fresh lemon juice. If you do not have fresh lemon juice, I took this out of my refrigerator just to show you. As chefs, we prefer to use fresh lemon, but you can also use the concentrated lemon juice, which you can find at the grocery store as well.
I use that sometimes. So sometimes I don't feel like using getting the lemon or doing the cutting.
You're still a chef. Don't worry about it. You're still a chef.
So I get the lemon juice. So I don't feel like doing the squeezing, or have to like deal with like the seeds. Like it's hard to squeeze a lemon and not get the seeds in the dish.
That is true. That is true. Okay, let's move this off to the side. We're done with this. Okay. Called for 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Once we get done with this video, there is another video that you're going to watch as well of a woman who is demonstrating. She's an editor for Cooking Light magazine. All right, so I have the juice, approximately 1 tablespoon of fresh lemon juice. Okay, how are you looking over there?
Good.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to set up my food processor.
Food processor?
I have a very old Cuisinart, approximately 25 years old. I had to replace the container because it cracked, but I have the original blade, and it was one of the best gifts my mother ever gave me. Probably one of the only gifts my mother ever gave me that I really appreciated.
My mother gave me a food processor too.
So this is an old Cuisinart food processor. Works great.
Mr. Boone, do you have any thoughts? What should I do if I don't have a food processor?
What do you do if you don't have a food processor? You can also use a blender.
Oh, I think I have a blender.
Blender would be great. Yes, use a blender. Okay, so we are on to step 3. Place chickpea mixture in the food processor and process until smooth. Combine chickpea mixture with pasta, tomatoes, minced garlic, fresh parsley, and lemon juice, and then we're going to serve it. Okay, so now, there's pot holders over there, Mr. Delcher.
Let me put on a pot holder for safety.
Excellent. Okay, shut off your gas.
Shut offing my gas.
We're going to pour the liquid mixture. You okay, Chef?
Yes.
Okay. Pour the liquid mixture into the food processor.
Oops.
And the chickpeas. Are you okay?
Yep.
Okay, and you're going to return that to the stove. Okay, so while Mr. Dutcher is returning that to the stove, I'm going to give him the pasta that's already been cooked. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Boone.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I will add the pasta to the pot.
So this is very easy to use. You make sure you line up the plastic piece over here with the plastic piece in the back here. Put it on, turn it till it locks, clicks in, and you just hit the on button. Okay? So what we're doing right now is we're pureeing the chickpeas with the stock, the red peppers, the garlic, the lemon, well not the lemon juice yet, okay? So we're making a sauce out of this. Turn the gas back on, yep. Okay. As you can see, the mixture almost looks like almost like a cream soup. Right? Be very careful so the blade doesn't come out into your pasta. Put your finger on top of the blade, and you're gonna pour that in over the pasta. And I kind of like it. It has a few chunks of the chickpea still left in it.
Oh, look at that.
Okay, to that we're going to add our fresh tomatoes, fresh garlic, and fresh parsley. Looks good. Looks really good. So as you can see, a few simple ingredients: tomatoes, pasta. You know, if you don't have fresh parsley, you could most definitely use some dry parsley. It won't give you as much flavor, but you know, dry parsley will work fine if you don't want to run out to the store. Okay, so we want to bring that up to temperature. Once it does reach temperature, we're going to plate it.
This looks delicious, Mr. Brown.
It does.
And who knew it has chickpeas in it?
Something a little bit different than the last two videos, which involve sautéing and, you know, high fat content and using chicken, right? Mr. Dutch, you're going to grab that out with a pair of tongs, and then we're going to get a little sauce on the bottom. We're going to get a little sauce on the bottom, right? So here you go. Do that a little bit. There you go. All right, go ahead. You plate it.
Oh. I always see the chefs do like a little twist.
Like a swirl.
Like a swirl.
All right.
There we go.
You want to go get some of those tomatoes.
Oh, yes.
Some of that broth.
Let's get some of that. Oh, a lot of it mixed in there.
There you go. Oh, that looks delicious.
There we go.
Okay, the only thing we're going to add to that, we're going to finish it off with a little bit of Pecorino Romano cheese. Okay, this is shaved Parmesan.
I love shaved Parmesan.
Sprinkle that over the top. And there you have it. Pasta with chickpeas and garlic sauce.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Bon appetit.